Hey everyone, I'm Kareem and welcome to a very special episode of Better You, the channel where we say not perfect but better every day. Today we're launching something new and super exciting. That's our very first Book Corner episode. This is the space where we dig deeper into powerful books that can truly change the way we think, live and grow. And we don't do that alone. Joining me today are two amazing guests and good friends, Sally and Adam. Together, they bring different perspectives that will help you see this book from angles that you've never thought of. They are diving into Scott Adams' How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. It's a book about failure, energy, and building a life that works, even if nothing else seems to. Whether you're stuck in your career, trying to start something new, or just looking for that little mental shift, this conversation is for you. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and listen in as we explore the lessons and the memorable moments from this brilliant book. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to become a better you. Let's get into it.
Wondered why some people seem to, win big even after a whole string of failures.
Yeah, while others just seem to struggle no matter how hard they work.
Or maybe why all that conventional advice about success? Maybe it's missing the mark entirely.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into the insights of Scott Adams.
Right, the creator of the Dilbert comic strip. Famous guy.
Exactly. And he's certainly not claiming to be some expert with a magic formula for everybody.
Yeah, not at all.
Instead, he's just sharing what genuinely worked for him, hoping some of his pretty unconventional ideas might be useful to you.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to pull out the most practical, maybe surprising and relevant nuggets of knowledge from the sources we looked at.
Which were a summary of his book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, and also a YouTube summary.
Right. We're going to explore his, unique approach to success, happiness, navigating life, really.
Offering you a kind of shortcut to getting informed and maybe equipped to improve your skills.
Make better decisions, achieve your daily goals, that sort of thing.
I think as we unpack this, you're probably going to rethink how you approach some of life's big challenges.
Yeah.
And opportunities, too.
Definitely. Let's start with maybe the biggest idea, the most counterintuitive one.
Okay, yeah. His central idea, goals.
Yeah.
They're actually far less useful than systems and processes.
That's a huge shift, isn't it? We're always told, set goals, big goals.
Right. But Adams points out goals imply a finish line. And until you hit it,
you feel like you're failing. Constantly.
Exactly. It's like built-in disappointment. If your goal is, say, lose 20 pounds.
You're feeling every day until the scale says minus 20.
Precisely. But compare that to someone with a system. Their system is just eat right.
Okay.
They succeed every single time they apply the system. Every healthy meal is a win.
I see. No deadline, just consistent action.
And their odds of success and happiness just keep going up over time. They're always in the process of achieving.
That really clicks for me. It turns the whole idea of achievement on its head.
Yep.
He tells that great story about meeting a CEO on a plane.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And the guy's system was just continually look for better job opportunities.
Right. Not a specific goal like, I must become CEO by 40.
It was the process, the consistent seeking that got him there. Experience, connections, it all built up.
It's the difference between, say, training for a marathon, a specific stressful goal.
Yeah, pretty stressful.
Versus just having a system of exercising daily, which is sustainable.
Right, makes sense. Or aiming for $1 million versus just being an entrepreneur, always looking for opportunities, solving problems.
And Mark Zuckerberg, Adams uses him as an example, too.
How so?
His system was studying hard, good grades, learning tech skills at a top school.
Okay.
That system would likely have made him successful and rich even without Facebook. The system was the foundation, not a goal to build one specific website.
So as you're listening, maybe think about what systems could you adopt for long-term success, rather than just focusing on that one big goal way off in the distance.
Yeah, it's about building those daily habits, those processes that kind of make success inevitable, not just chasing the outcome.
Okay, so moving on from systems, he also has some pretty provocative thoughts on success itself. and passion.
Oh yeah, he really pushes back on the idea that passion is this essential ingredient for success.
Passion is overrated. That's bold. I mean, we hear the opposite all the time. What's his reasoning?
Well, he argues that, yeah, sure, passionate people can have huge successes, but they also have huge failures.
Ah, survivorship bias. You only hear from the winners.
Exactly. It's a selection bias thing. And what's even more surprising, maybe, is his claim that passion often comes from success.
Not the other way around.
Nope. He talks about investing in a restaurant himself.
I remember reading that. He was excited at first.
Super passionate, but as soon as the restaurant started to struggle, poof, the passion just vanished.
So it wasn't this pure driving force.
No. He really emphasizes that success is more about diligent, consistent work on something that seems promising, not just relying on raw passion.
Which ties right into how he sees failure, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Failure isn't this awful endpoint for him.
It's a tool.
Yeah, a useful tool. Something you can leverage to eventually win. And boy, does he have experience with failure.
He really walks the talk there. Give us some examples. What did he learn from those early flops?
Oh, tons. He's like a master of failure. Take the Velcro rosin bag for tennis players.
Okay.
Good idea, maybe, but he learned ideas are kind of worthless without execution.
Right. You got to make it happen.
Then his first job interview at Xerox, total disaster apparently, but it taught him, find jobs that play to your strengths.
Makes sense. What else?
A meditation guide he co-wrote, sold 3 copies.
Ouch.
Yeah, but he learned a lot about marketing, about business from that. Then there were the computer games.
Two of them, right?
Yep. One was outdated before it even launched. The other just never worked properly. Big lessons in project management, I guess.
And the psychic practice program.
Huh. Yeah, that one just wasn't exciting enough to sell, apparently. Tough market.
So these were all before Dilbert really took off.
Well, some overlapped, but yeah. Even his corporate career. Before Dilbert hit big, his banking job.
What about it?
He calls it failing upward. He claims he was mainly just good at interviewing for the next job.
Not necessarily great at the job itself.
That's what he says. And the crazy part, he left the bank for Pacific Bell.
And then?
A few weeks later, his entire old department got laid off.
Wow. So being bad at banking actually saved him from getting fired.
Pretty much. A mix of interview skills and just pure luck, seems like.
So the big takeaway from all these failures
is that failure isn't a dead end. It's data. Every single one taught him something critical, building this base of knowledge that eventually led to success.
It really does shift your perspective.
It should. For you listening, think about your own past failures. Can you reframe them, not as ends, but as like learning experiences, tools for the future?
It's all about perception.
Which, speaking of perception, is another huge theme for Adams. How mindset and assumptions shape everything.
He calls attitude a superpower, right? Something you can actually control.
Exactly, and not just by thinking happy thoughts, although that's part of it.
How then?
By actively manipulating your thoughts, yes, but also your body, your environment. Exercise, nutrition, sleep. Those are foundational, he says. Absolutely key.
But he also suggests other things, like forcing a smile.
Yeah. Or actively daydreaming about good things happening in the future. He argues these physical actions, these mental exercises, can actually trigger positive brain chemicals. You can kind of hack your own mood.
And he applied this brain hacking to his own health issues, didn't he? Like the focal dystonia.
Oh, absolutely. That was the neurological thing where his pinky finger would spasm when he tried to draw.
Making it almost impossible to do Dilbert. And doctors said no cure.
Right. Experts basically threw up their hands. But Adams, he found his own system.
What'd he do?
He practiced drawing motions during boring meetings at his day job, tapping the pen, pulling up just before the spasm hit, over and over. And after weeks of this, his brain literally rewired itself. The dystonia just disappeared.
That's incredible. Neuroplasticity in action.
Totally. And then there was his voice issue, spasmodic dysphonia.
That sounded even tougher. Losing his voice for years.
Yeah, he said he felt like the ghost in a crowded room. Doctors first thought it might be, psychological.
But he proved it wasn't.
Yeah, he did this 45-minute speaking gig. Voice was fine during it. Walked off stage. Gone again. Clearly neurological.
So what did he do then? Botox didn't really work long term.
It was inconsistent. So eventually he found this innovative nerve surgery with a Dr. Burke. Tough recovery took months.
But it worked.
Pretty much. He says his voice became functionally perfect. Maybe still a bit hoarse, but usable. Again, just relentless determination to hack his own biology, applying that system's thinking.
He also talks about affirmations, doesn't he? repeating positive statements.
He does, and he admits he's a bit skeptical, but he lists some crazy successes he attributes, at least partly, to them.
Like,
Becoming rich, dating someone he felt was out of his league, some 10,000 to 1 unlikely personal event happening, his GMAT score.
and becoming a famous cartoonist, obviously.
Right. He throws out explanations like selective memory, optimism, hidden talent, even living in a simulation.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he says, hey, they're harmless and maybe they helped a lot. He seems to view them as another system, building focus, building energy, not magic, but a process.
What really comes through is his grasp of psychology, human irrationality.
Oh, definitely. He says it's embedded in everything. Business, life. People aren't purely logical.
We act irrationally, driven by emotion.
Yep. And how people respond to you, it's often based on their perceptions, not objective reality.
Like the editor's praise example.
Exactly. His drawing skills didn't change overnight, but his confidence did, just from that one comment. Perception shifted ability, in a way.
He saw this in his business ventures, too.
Yeah, the second comic strip failed, partly because people compared it, maybe unfairly, to Dilbert. Their perception was skewed,
In the rest,
aimed for upscale but failed because casually dressed customers felt out of place. Their perception of themselves in that setting changed how they perceived the food.
it's fascinating. He calls people moist machines, just responding to inputs.
Kind of blunt, but yeah. He talks about buying a car based on gut feeling, then rationalizing later.
We all do that sometimes.
And politicians using emotional appeals. Steve Jobs designing products that hit our emotions, not just our logic, leading to Apple's huge margins. Understanding irrationality is key.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How are your perceptions or others' perceptions of you shaping things? And can you influence that?
That's the challenge he puts out there.
Okay, another big principle for Adams, managing your energy budget.
Right. He thinks maximizing personal energy, just feeling good, mentally, physically calm, focused, is maybe the best way to organize your whole life.
Because high energy helps everywhere else.
Exactly. Work, relationships, health.
Yeah.
It lifts everything. It's like the ultimate foundational system we talked about earlier.
And the pillars for this are pretty basic, right? Diet, exercise, sleep.
Super simple but powerful. With diet, he sees the body as a programmable robot. Put stuff in, get predictable results out.
So you need to experiment on yourself.
Totally. Figure out your own diet-mood connection. For him, simple carbs, bread, rice, potatoes made him sleepy.
But fruits, nuts, protein.
Opposite effect. Gave him energy. And his way of breaking addictions, like carbs or Diet Coke.
It was kind of weird. Eat anything except the thing you're cutting.
Yeah. He ate as much chocolate as he wanted when cutting carbs, drank tons of other stuff when quitting Diet Coke after like 40 years.
And the cravings just went away without fighting them.
That's his claim. Less willpower needed. His own diet now is lots of fruits, veggies, lean protein, nuts, whole grains, dairy. Focuses on convenience, flavor, moderation.
Oh.
And consulting a doctor, of course.
And exercise. What's his take?
Consistency over intensity. Moderate exercise is best for living longer. And social influence helps hang out with fit people. You tend to get fitter.
He has tips for couples finding time too, right?
Yeah, team sports, consistent schedules, maybe exercising together, though he notes that can be hard. Rewards, cues, practical stuff.
And sleep. Non-negotiable.
Absolutely. 7-8 hours, high quality, crucial for happiness. He thinks happiness is like 80% body chemistry and lifestyle.
Yeah, and only 20% circumstances.
Yeah. So maximizing happiness becomes the most reasonable life goal.
Makes sense.
Other keys he mentions: social interaction, kindness, less stress, meaningful goals, gratitude, self-acceptance.
And happiness depends more on your direction.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Right. Slow, steady improvement keeps those happiness chemicals flowing, more than just being somewhere static.
This leads to that interesting phrase, enlightened selfishness. It sounds contradictory. What's that about?
It means being selfish in the right ways, taking care of your own health, career, finances first.
So you can help others later.
Exactly. If you burn yourself out putting everyone else first, you end up unable to help anyone, including yourself. Fill your own cup first.
That really hits home. It makes you think, for you listening, what's one energy drain you could ditch? Or one energy booster you could add, knowing it'll ripple out?
And all this energy, all this focus, it feeds into his next big idea, the multiplier effect, skill stacking.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Every skill doubles your odds.
That's the core concept. Every new skill you acquire, he argues, basically doubles your odds of success.
But you don't have to be amazing at any one skill.
Nope, not world class, Just be good at several different things.
Like an office skill plus Spanish plus public speaking plus basic tech skills. That quadruples your odds.
Potentially, yeah. It's about the combination. Not mastery of one thing, but being proficient in a useful mix.
And Scott Adams himself is the poster child for this.
Totally. He's very candid about it. Says he combined mediocre skills.
Like what?
Poor art skills, his words. Average business skills, good writing, knowing about the internet early on, an average sense of humor.
And that specific, maybe unimpressive mix
Led to Dilbert. Massive success. He wasn't the best artist or writer or comedian, but he was maybe the best at combining those specific things in that way.
That's powerful. So what skills does he suggest we develop? Even just a little bit.
He gives a pretty diverse list. First, communication skills are huge. Public speaking, highly useful. He mentions Dale Carnegie courses, positive reinforcement,
Okay.
business writing, concise, direct, active voice makes you sound smarter, more persuasive.
What else in communication?
Conversation itself. His secret with strangers? Just ask questions till you find a mutual interest. Make the other person feel good.
And telling stories.
Yeah, craft short, interesting stories from your life. Setup, pattern, foreshadowing, characters, relatable. Then an unexpected twist. Keep it brief.
Okay. Beyond communication.
Skills for understanding the world and yourself. Psychology, it's everywhere. Helps grasp perception, irrationality.
Right.
Accounting, boring, maybe, but key for business. Design has rules anyone can learn, he says, like using odd numbers, L-shaped layouts.
And personal stuff.
Yeah.
Like shyness.
Yep, overcoming shyness. Consciously act, outgoing, fake it till you make it. Put yourself in slightly embarrassing situations to exercise your ego.
Interesting. What about less obvious ones?
Learning a second language, Spanish, is his example. Job opportunities, brain benefits.
Golf? Really?
Yeah, for socializing, networking, mental break. Grammar seems basic, but important for appearing intelligent. Avoid common mistakes.
Like it's censor-fewerless.
Exactly. Persuasion techniques, asking clarifying questions, sincere thanks, showing energy, channeling irrationality ethically.
Technology.
Basic grasp is essential now. And finally, voice technique.
Voice technique. Why?
Confident voices correlate with success, attraction. He even used a fake professional voice himself. Diaphragmatic breathing, planning sentences.
Wow, that's a lot of skills. It really emphasizes being versatile.
Definitely. So for you listening, what two maybe mediocre skills could you start developing or combining? Think about what new opportunities that might open up. It's about the mix.
Okay, wrapping things up. Adams also talks about simplicity, patterns, and luck.
Yeah, he's big on simplicity, streamlining things, like how he simplified his Dilbert drawing style.
To save time and energy.
Exactly, freedom up for other stuff. He thinks startups benefit too. Release an 80% good product, then iterate based on feedback. Don't wait for perfection.
And patterns. He says look for patterns everywhere.
To gain insight. He noticed weird things, like in high school volleyball, the team hitting 17 points first often won, even though the game goes to 25.
Or the 5-2 curse in tennis.
Right, where the player who gets to 5 points first often chokes and loses the lead. Knowing these little patterns can give you an edge, or just understanding.
And managing luck. You can't control it directly, but
You can improve your odds. Choose fields with better probabilities. Create luckier circumstances, like networking, being optimistic, saying yes to things, visualizing success, like with affirmations again. Put yourself in luck's path.
And finally, knowing when to quit. Quitting wisely.
Crucial insight. Persistence is good, but stubbornness when something clearly isn't working, that's folly.
Look for early signs of success or demand.
Yeah, even if the execution is rough at first, like early cell phones, fax machines, PCs, even early Simpsons or Dilbert, they weren't perfect, but there was something there.
But if it starts bad and stays bad, no interest.
Cut your losses, conserve your energy, quit smartly.
So a final challenge for you, listener.
Yeah.
Where are you overcomplicating things? How could you simplify? Or what hidden pattern in your daily life might unlock something new?
So we've covered a lot today. A deep dive into Scott Adams' really different ways of thinking.
Yeah, shifting from goals to systems.
Realizing passion might follow success.
Using failure as a learning tool.
Mastering your mind, perception, affirmations.
Optimizing personal energy through diet, exercise, sleep.
The power of skill stacking.
And simplicity, patterns, managing luck.
These aren't just, abstract theories. They're practical frameworks. Ways to design your life so luck finds you more often.
So success and happiness become the natural results of the systems you build. You really do have more control than you might think.
So here's a final thought to chew on. If your happiness is truly 80% lifestyle and body chemistry and only 20% external stuff,
Yeah.
what single small change could you make today to, as Adams puts it, reprogram your robot?
Maybe adjusting your diet just a bit. A few minutes of activity. A conscious thought shift.
Exactly. Something that could immediately nudge your internal chemistry towards feeling better, towards more well-being, regardless of whatever else is happening around you.